Come on by and have a bite at the CrossRoadDiner, the place your spirit goes when it might be time to change direction. Welcome to Monday Coaching. We're going to help you navigate change. Well, we're recording on a Monday once again, and you are in the CrossRoadDiner. John, tell everybody where we are.
You know, we have reserved every Monday morning a booth in the back corner of the CrossRoadDiner to exchange and have this Crossroad Coaching session. So it's our private Crossroad Coaching booth in the corner of the diner, place that I love to spend every Monday morning. And we want y'all to join us.
We've saved you room for you. Yeah, we've saved room for you. And as you can see, I am subtle and understated today. Why do you think that is, John? What are we talking about?
We are choosing joy this morning, my friend, and I'm not sure if that can I didn't realize, I guess, that could take place in the closet in the morning, but clearly I know now, there's no doubt about it. You can choose joy no matter where you are.
That's right. Well, for those of you who are only listening to the podcast, I am in an incredibly loud Hawaiian shirt with basically blue and pink and orange. And it's a fun day because I want to celebrate this joy thing. And you made a really interesting distinction when we were talking about the happiness advantage in Sean Akers' TED Talk last week. And you differentiated that, and you made a really, really great point. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, you know, I love happiness. And it's hard to not talk about happiness and being happy. But there is, I believe, a difference between happiness and joy. And so whenever I think about happiness, and I've studied this a little bit, and they're super close. So, it could just be vernacular to some degree, but this is the thought process of choosing joy, that happiness is more external. Happiness is, think about a kid's birthday party, right? So they have this happy moment at the birthday, and 3 days later, they don't even remember they got any presents. But they were really happy at the party, right? And so happiness can be fleeting. Happiness versus joy, where joy is more of an internal depth, kind of an internal peace, that deeper feeling of contentment, right? I think about happiness as when we want to get something that we don't have, where joy is enjoying something, appreciating what we already have. And so there's just, I don't, let me see if I've got some notes. Let's see if I'm missing anything.
And also joy comes in the giving process.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, you can find joy in so many ways, choose joy in so many ways. Oh, it's something I'd like. Happiness tends to be circumstantial, right? Depending on our situation, versus joy, which is outside of the circumstances. They don't really even matter. And then the other thing, and this is probably what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Everybody who's watching this with me realizes I'm going to have to hire a cameraman for your side because you move all over the place.
I do have trouble sitting in one place.
Yes, you do.
I can't. Yeah. So this is another thing. Happiness is inconsistent, where joy is consistent. It's really like consistent contentment. You think about joy, choosing. We can choose that. That's the crazy thing. Like this is, I love the word choose almost as much as I love the word joy, because we get a choice. Things will happen to us, right? We will have moments where we are truly victims. Things happen to us. Somebody breaks into our house, or a spouse, something happens. I can go through a lot of examples, but we all know intuitively that things do happen to us and cause us to be the victim. But then we get to choose, do we stay victim, or do we choose to move out of that? Choose joy. Make choices to dig ourselves out. Whether it's therapy, whether it's honestly, a glass of wine some nights is just what I need to take me to a little bit joyful place, right? We get to choose where we stay. So I love that thought process that the consistency we can have in contentment when joy, those are kind of what I feel like are the key differentiators between happiness and joy. Joy is lasting. Happiness is fleeting. So give us some tools or some ideas here, because I agree with you, and I think I follow the logic of joy being having the potential to be constant, whereas happiness is a situational thing.
what it calls to mind. I've got a very dear friend who I'm very close to, and I just want to protect the identity. But as a widow, he died way too young. She was very young, and her mother was old school and said, you know, you're going to have to be miserable for a year or so. And she said, no, I'm not going to be miserable. I'm going to be happy in my life. He wouldn't want me to not be happy. I said, well, you can't be happy and be sad at the same time. She said, no, but I can be joyful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And she's going to miss him, love him till the day she dies.
Yeah.
But she still has her son, his wife, her family, her incredible host of friends that bring joy into her life.
Yeah.
And she's not going to miss that, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a decision.
Yeah, that's good. And, you know, I think, you know, I might challenge one of the things your friend said there is that I actually do believe so often we want to go black or white. You can't hold two things at the same time. But I absolutely believe we can be full of joy and cry our eyes out at loss. We can be full of joy and experience happiness for a moment, but our joy doesn't go away. It's like, you know, so much of our world, we try to black and white it. And the reality is we can hold two truths in our hands at the same time. So, they can
apparently be in conflict, actually.
Yeah. Even when they're in conflict, you know? So, it's really interesting because I think I'm going to use that as, kind of something we can use in our toolbox. There is, I kind of have done this research. I'm sure it's not new to you, Steve, because you know so much, but I look at the idea of lasting joy. And if we're going to choose joy, I think it's really important to think about at the end. Okay. Here's the, you know, none of us make it out of here alive, right? It's going to happen at some point. And so you look at
physical dimension,
yes. And so when you look at what do people regret at the end, I think it can really help us dive in and understand the choose joy. And depending on how quick I go, I might give you a little story about this, but chances are we won't have time for story time. But here's the thing. One of the top regrets of people at the end when they're dying, that they wish that they were more loving to others. So to choose joy, we can make the simple choice to be more loving in our communication, in our actions. Last week, you gave us such a great talk on choosing gratitude, on being gratitude. Take the time. You know, for John Burnett, I was challenged to go from journaling about my gratitudes, which is definitely healthy for me, to writing those out and sending them to others and being more intentional about letting other people know about my gratitude. I'll tell you something out of that talk. I was on LinkedIn and heard from one of my former clients that I haven't worked with in 20 years, but she reached out to me because one of our mutual friends was having a birthday. And so and it was a big one. It was a big 6-0, right? And so I had the opportunity, her name's Melba, I had an opportunity to send Melba a note and tell her how grateful I was to have her in my life back in Kansas City. And we'll get back to, and then bonus, it was my buddy's birthday and I got to send him an email on his birthday telling him how grateful I was for him and having him in my life. So that was a huge thing, by the way. So, but we get to choose to be more loving to others. And it can be as simple as a note of gratitude. Another regret is that people wish that they were a better spouse or child or parent. And those are things that we always have an opportunity to make decisions in that area. I love this one personally. I think it's, you know, pretty cool. They wish they didn't work so much.
Yeah. That
they had spent less time working, right? And so, and it's kind of tied. There's another one. It's kind of still in the top 8 or 9. They wish they had more meaningful work. So this is a cool thought process about what's going on right now with Steve and I, right? You and I mean, I don't know if anybody can tell, but I'm like pumped up to be a part of this. You and I enjoy the heck out of these podcasts and encouraging others. we have meaningful work. Like this will never be something that I go, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done as many podcasts with Steve. I wish that I'd done more, maybe, but we got started when we could, and here we go. So more meaningful work, that they had taken more risk. You want to find more joy? Take more risk. It doesn't compute in our minds sometime, but again, I'll probably for a while be referring to this relationship. Yes. Oh, this is a great example I was about to give, but go ahead and interrupt.
No. Finish your thought. I want to get a word in edgewise here.
Okay. So, so this relationship that I have entered into is shocking to me. I wasn't looking for anything. I literally had made the decision I will be single the rest of my life. And then this person came into my life. And so it was a big risk to open up my heart to someone. And her circumstances made it a pretty big risk for her as well. But we are both finding so much joy in taking that risk. There is something about opening up our hearts and trusting, even if it's just a friendship, even if it is stepping into that job situation because we're going to leave the money to press into the joy of doing something meaningful for others. It is a huge, huge joy giver. So what were you gonna say?
Well, yeah, I think the risk point is gigantic. The risk, if you look at what am I risking? I am risking the devil I know for the devil I don't. I'm risking the good things about the status quo. And I would say to you, as someone, I don't recommend starting over 7 times in your life, but I have. and what I know is that I'm resilient enough to do that. Losing it all is survivable. Yeah. It makes me not understand the 20s during the stock crisis when people were leaping out of multi-story building windows because they were losing money. Now, I understand that you can invest a lot in your identity, in what you do, and how much you have. But I'm here to tell you, and I think John will support me on this, is what you have is not what you do. Your resume is not who you are. You are so much bigger than that. And the risk that you're taking is that you might have to work real hard to get to a level of comfort or security that you might have had before. I understand security is very, very, very important to many people. And risking that is simply not prudent. But we're not necessarily talking about, blind faith. We're talking about going, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to be prudent about it. I'm going to look at it. But we said last week, no plan survives the first encounter with the reality. If you don't take risks, you will not grow and learn.
Yeah, it's so huge. It is, and it doesn't have to be crazy risk, right? We can take. I'm coaching someone right now who has a part-time job. Their family needs that income,
right?
And she wants to quit and go all in, and yet she doesn't have anything substantial set up yet to replace that family income. And it's very clear as a couple that they need that revenue. So it's not like, and I'm like, hey, is it possible to choose joy in your part-time job that you don't want to stay in, that is not necessarily the most joy-giving, to let go of the things that aren't giving joy, choose to live in the things that are for a time. I got a whole thing about that where sometimes, we have to do things that we don't want to do until we're able to do the things we do want to do. And so that's exactly where she's landed. She's gotten to the point where she's going to work on this, but she has plenty of time to start creating this new revenue stream and build it up. And it is not there again. It doesn't have to be, I do this or I risk everything and go out on my own. Like they don't have to be two completely separate things. You can do both in either or. You can save money. You can build a runway. There's so many different ways to do this. One size does not fit all. And it really is up to the individual person, but stepping out of that risk is huge.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to add to that is I was recently in a situation where, a bunch of things that I had to do for a period of time. that I didn't want to really have to do, and it was keeping me from some things that I wanted. And in order to choose the joy, I had to find something to be grateful for in that process. Even though I wasn't grateful for the process or how much it paid me or that, there were people there, and I could make connection with them, and we made little incremental progress on relationships that I was actually grateful for. And so anyhow, just examples.
Yeah. So good. I'm gonna kind of wrap with this last one because it ties in really well with the risk. People at the end of their life, one of their top regrets, they wish they had lived their dream. Now, you know me. When I talk vision, that's dreams to me. I love the idea of dreaming. But it's a different thing to dream versus to step into that dream and actually live it. We all have that potential. You said something about you don't necessarily suggest that people start over 7 times or something. I'm actually revisiting that whole thought process. I'm glad. I've been a missionary in my life. I've been a sports marketer. I've been a sales guy. I've been a marketing guy. Now, to some degree, I'm a podcaster. I'm a coach. That didn't even used to be a term back when we were younger. To be a coach, I had to do it in the athletic world. There's so much that, so many dreams. Now we're both working on the dream to be speakers. This is like the reinvention of ourselves it's like the greatest risk is to not step into those dreams. Because as we go through life, when we realize dreams, God gives us new ones. And they feel risky, but if we look back and go, wait, this isn't a risk. This is actually choosing joy when we choose to step out and live these dreams. So I'm a little bit of a joy guy. Choose joy. In the 08-09 downturn, I was working for Fox Sports, and I mean, people were, upper management was putting tons of pressure on us, like somehow we had caused this downturn, and it was insane times for everybody. I don't blame them. It was just everybody became reactionary because nobody knew how to deal with that.
Yeah, fear is
my sales team, people in the organization. So I took a sticky note, just a little yellow sticky note, and in little words, little enough that they had to lean in to read it, I wrote, choose joy. And that to me is every day through gratitude, every day through the decisions we make, every day through leaning into our dreams and maybe taking tiny baby steps towards them. We have the opportunity to choose joy.
And with that, I would suggest that every Monday you join us in the corner booth at the CrossRoadDiner for Crossroad Coaching. I'm Steve McCurdy.
And I am John Burnett.
Choose joy in the CrossRoadDiner every Monday and Thursday, where your spirit goes when it might be time to change direction. Be with us each week. We're going to help you navigate change.